moving on to Apache. Of course, the most important thing that we want to get out of this is how do I contribute back to the Apache cloud stack. So before I even go to that, I kind of want to explain why Citrix chose to do this. Number one is, why do we choose the Apache license? Before the Apache license, the cloud stack, it was open source, was entirely GPL. And the most important thing about that, having that license, is the fact that it made it very hard for people to want to contribute to this project, just because of the way the license works, and that if you ever wanted to implement your own cloud stack, you would have to contribute everything back to the community, which a lot of people do not want. So one of the reasons why we did choose Apache is for that exact reason. The other couple of reasons we wanted to do it is because there's a huge, just the user adoption for the Apache license just makes it very easy for people to want to contribute to some open source project that has Apache licenses. But the other thing is, why do we donate it to the Apache Server Foundation? A lot of people have complained that even though Cloud Stack was open source, Citrix pretty much decided 100% of how it's going to be both developed, any new features, not much contribution from anyone else. So one of the reasons why we want to donate to Apache software is to give back to everyone else in the community, like you guys, to be able to have your own ideas and contribute back and have a say on what the cloud stack direction is. From all the work that the cloud stack has been done for 3 years, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, a lot of cloud stack, even though it was defined by Citrix, I would say more than 50% of the code here today was a result of because from the IDCF to NTT to Unicore, I mean, all these companies, you have told us what you needed. We have incorporated that to cloud stack, even though it doesn't look like it's from Citrix. We have done that, and so what we want to make that more open now, because nobody actually really knew that that's what we did. So we wanted to donate this to Apache Software. A couple of things also to mention is it has one of the best governance model that we believe today. It's what the community believes. It's been around for over 15 years. It has tons of very famous projects. If you think about Apache Web Server, Tomcat, Hadoop, Cassandra, these are almost tools that almost any developer have gone to use. And they have a huge amount of tools, not just you guys, but their existing tools of developers that want to that contribute to not just a single project, but for many projects. When Citrix wanted to donate donate Cloud Stack to Apache, it was an overwhelming response from the Apache community that voted for us to come in here. So it's the Apache community, the developers, they want to contribute to this project. So I'm going to quickly go through some of the dates that has happened since. So in April, we actually converted most of the source code to Apache license. In April is also the time where we actually said we would donate Cloud Stack to the Apache Server Foundation. In May, we officially did it. We entered a mode, what we call incubation mode. So in Apache today, you cannot be a top-level project unless you have gone through the incubation period, which allows a couple of things. One is to remove all the offending licenses that's not compatible with Apache, but most importantly, it's a period where Apache can, it's like baby steps. So you don't immediately, it gives you, they want to believe that when a project exits incubation, that it can survive on its own without the original company that donated. So what we have to prove to them is that if Citrix, and Citrix is not going to ever do this, but if Citrix decides to pull out of the Cloud Stack project, it can survive on its own. And so we must prove to Apache that they can do it. And the way we do that today is to ensure that there are enough of committers out there that are willing to contribute to the Cloud Stack project. And it has actually been moving pretty quickly so far. I think just last month alone, we invited about 5 new non-Citrix committers into the community, and we're looking at inviting a lot more as well. I do know that some of you already in this room have already started contributing to the ClassTech project, and with that, we get the ability to become a committer and help out the ClassTech project. Oh gosh. A couple of dates in the future. So also, in this date may change. I said September is when Apache may decide to ship the 4.0 release. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But I do know that Apache wants their first release to be out very soon, and they're trying to target a September date. But this can always change. Now that is different than the Citrix platform release that's been going on recently. And then I kind of talked about what it takes to make sure that we graduate to a top-level project. So what does this mean for our partners and also our customers? Number one, the awareness of ClassTech has increased dramatically. And I mean dramatically what we donated. I don't think I have a slide here somewhere, but if you look at the graph of the number of contributors, the number of mailing people that has contributed mailing, it's skyrocketed hugely after our announcement. So we believe it's a very good thing that we did this. Because of this trajectory, we believe that now ClassTech always had customers, right? That's never something that we doubted. We always believed we were the most mature IaaS software out today. What we couldn't say before this donation is the contributors, right? Projects like OpenStack have a huge amount of contributors to their project. And this is one of the reasons why we donated this as well. And we believe with the traction that we are getting today, we are really on the path to being the #1 orchestration software, hopefully within the pretty soon. With the Apache license, again, it gives you guys the opportunity to be able to contribute more easily to the project. To be honest, I don't even know if half of you would even be here if we didn't have the Apache license. Again, moving there gives you guys the opportunity to influence the direction of CloudStack now. And then along with this, you get to see a lot more of what CloudStack is doing internally through the mailing list, etc. Quickly about Citrix platform, we released 3.03 mid-June. That I don't believe is an Apache release. So that is actually something that's in the mailing list deciding whether we should move this out to Apache or not. Again, I'm going to leave this on the Apache mailing list how they decide. Citrix is no longer going to be the one that controls everything. But we are more than willing to go and release a 3.03 Apache if the community wants that. Just to make sure that you guys are we plan to contribute everything that we do for Citrix platform back to ClassTech. So we never intend to fork or are going to contribute everything right back to the ClassTech project. In terms of monetization of cloud platform, really nothing has changed with us. We've always been a support license based before and after the donation. In terms of the difference between ClassTech and cloud platform, we expect Apache ClassTech to always be about 3 to 6 months ahead of Citrix platform. Hopefully, we can keep it just a 3 months difference. So what will happen is, most likely, Apache ClassTech will probably have a time-based, release. I don't know whether it's going to be 2 or 3 releases in a year, but let's just say there's 2 releases a year. Cloud platform will hopefully within 3 to 6 months have and hopefully within 3, we'll have a commercialized version of that out soon after these stable releases from ClassTech. And then again, the Citrix platform release is now, well, it's not that it ever changed, but it will always be dictated by Citrix business needs, whereas the Apache ClassTech release is really going to be defined by you guys. And however you guys decide you want the ClassTech release. Before I go on how you contribute to ClassTech, any questions you may have so far we're going to talk about? What you call it? I can hear you. Go ahead.
すいません。API のコマンドに関してちょっと質問させていただきたいんですけど、クラウドスタックの 2.2.14 から、ちょっと確認している限りでは 3.0.2 に関して変わったときに、リストテンプレートっていうAPI コマンドがあると思うんですけど、テンプレートフィルターで、セキューテーブルっていう、なんかすべての使用できる、使用可能なテンプレートをすべてリストするみたいなテンプレートフィルターがあるんですけど、3.0.2 になってから、フィーチャーテンプレートが見えなくなったんですけど、それは何か理由があるんでしょうか。
It's a bug. I would say it's probably a bug. Yeah. The feature term is not supposed to be invisible, so I would say that if anything changed, it's most likely a constant bug. No difference. Anyone else?
すみません。ユーザーインターフェースについての質問なんですけれども、クラウドサービスのマネジメントサーバー、情報を実行する機能とビューアーの機能くっついているんですけれども、これ分離することって可能なんでしょうか。あるいは分離する計画みたいなものがあるんでしょうか。
So I'm not sure if the question, I understand the question, but are you asking whether the API server and the management server itself can be split? Is that what you're asking?
具体的な話をしますと、一つのクラウドスタックのマネジメントサーバーがですね、複数の入り口から入ってくるという形態があると思うんですね。あるいは一つのクラウドをですね、複数のディストリビューターが提供している場合、ロゴを一つ一つポータルによって変えないといったような要求があると思うんですけれども、いったときにですね、ウェブインターフェースを提供しているサーバーだけ分離したいという考えているんですけれども、それが可能なのかどうかです。
Yeah, so the question is whether a web server can, so if you just need the UI code itself, the UI code today is actually on the Tomcat server. You can actually take that out and put it anywhere you want, because really it's just, actually I take that back, because there's still JS key involved in there, perhaps not. But if you don't care about localization, again, 99% of the code is written in HTML, CSS, and jQuery. It does not have to exist on the management server. You can put it anywhere else you want. You can decide not to use it if you want to. So you can certainly split it out. In the future, what Shane was talking about, the split of the API/UI versus the main management server, those will be split out in the future. So you can actually scale out the web server portion of it in the future. That has nothing to do with the management server. You're right. Today, if I realize that the management server cannot host the number of API requests, you have to spawn out an additional management server. But in changing the architecture slide, he was talking about we will be able to make that split automatically. There was one other question. One more question.
質問はですね、 アパッチクラウドスタックとクラウドプラットフォームの違いというところで、3から6ヶ月ぐらい遅れがあるというふうにおっしゃってたんですけれども、その3から6ヶ月だった後って、全く同じコードになっているのでしょうか、それとも違いは少しでもあるんでしょうか。
So quickly about what happens with Apache Cloud Stack. So Apache Cloud Stack is going to continue on the main master Git branch. When they decide to ship a release, they probably will create a stable branch release. Most likely, this hasn't been decided, Citrix will take the stable branch release, clone it inside the Citrix repository, and fix any bugs that we believe needs to be fixed in order to ship it as a commercial Citrix cloud platform. All of those bugs, fixes, will be contributed back to CloudStack. But we don't plan on, when we ship a platform release, we don't plan on adding new features, for instance. We're really just going to take a stable branch and ensure that it passes all the QA as defined by it has a certain level of quality for Citrix before we ship it out. And the only thing I would say is that we may disable features. We won't add features, but let's say a lot of contributors contributed 100 new features. If Citrix is unable to support all 100, we may have to say, look, some features it's not going to be supported. So we may end up disabling some features, but I don't think we'll ever be adding new features on every single one of the release. Any other questions?
ISP のプロバイダーですね、クラウドスタックと利用してサービスを開始した場合に、コミュニティの方がどんどんバージョンがねかもしれないですが、ドラスティックに上がってしまうと、サービスして、現状サービスというものを止めない限り、ユーザーを乗せ替えられないとか、そういったことが起きてしまうんですが、この辺は考慮しながら発展していくものなんでしょうか。
Okay, so the question is, you're worried about that we have too many CloudStack releases today, too fast, etc. I agree with you because I've been shipping those releases myself, so I definitely know we are shipping much too faster than I would like to have. The goal for Citrix is really hopefully 2 major releases a year, and that's pretty much about it. That's what we want to do. And we realize that our existing production environment today, that especially the Japanese service provider, where quality is really the most important thing, and upgrades, are taken very seriously. They typically will ensure that an upgrade passes all of their tests before they are willing to even make it, put it on production. So I know I've worked with enough the Japanese customers to understand that, and we know that, and we definitely are trying to slow down the CloudStack releases. One of the reasons why this year happens to be almost in a startup pace, a couple of reasons. One is, of course, the donation to Apache. So we had to rush to fix our code in order to do that. I would say that continually we'll probably have a little bit of that because we want to make sure the architecture changes that Shane has already described gets put in so that partners and vendors can easily contribute to CloudStack more easily. So I would say there's a little bit more of that. And plus, if you think about it today, cloud is still evolving very fast. And we like to believe in Citrix CloudStack that we want to be the leader in terms of features, right? In terms of innovation. And so, if we I mean, I would say we would eventually slow down. Well, part of the reasons why today is because you guys have asked for that many features. The amount of features that we have from our partners, from the service providers, from project clouds, I can list at least 5 to 6 years worth of development time right now, and we cannot do all of them. And it just speaks to volumes to how many features that people want today that still haven't been developed. And so I understand your concern about that. At Citrix, we are committed to quality. I myself hate the fact that I get support cases of things that are broken. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I think with Apache it will definitely slow down because Apache is going to be slower just because there are many more voices now as part of it. So I definitely know with Apache things are definitely going to slow down. So by the end but I think from 2013 on, you'll see a much more regular, predictable release cycle than what it is today. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Apache、クラウドスタックと、シトリックス、クラウドプラットフォームの関係について続けて質問します。Linux と同じように、Linux の場合は Linux ファウンデーションで Linux 開発して、レッドハットなどのディストリビューターが Linux のあるバージョンを引っ張ってきて、自分なりにエンハンスメントしてリリースしますね。それと同じようなことをシトリックスはもうしようとしているんでしょうか。
Yeah, so if you think about the Fedora Red Hat model, I think what Citrix will be doing with platform and cloud stack will be very, very similar